Good evening. My name is Teresa Patterson, and I'm the very proud principal of Palm Harbor University High School. It is my privilege and honor to welcome the distinguished members of the board, the executive leadership team of Pinellas County Schools, and our community, the public, to this board meeting. Later tonight, I'll have some students that will speak about the continued tradition of success that we're experiencing here at Palm Harbor University. We're so very proud. I hope you enjoy the meeting, and I'd like to introduce Mrs. Eileen Long, who'd like to welcome you as well.
I call this meeting of the Pinellas County School Board April 26, 2022 to order. Thank you to Principal Teresa Patterson for hosting us today and for everyone who is here with us this evening. We began taking our board meetings on the road in 2019, visiting Oldsmar and Gulfport City Hall, and in 2020 held meetings at Lakewood and Tarpon Springs High School. The board wanted to have meetings both north and south for those who couldn't make it to the administration building in Largo. We didn't go on the road in 2021, but wanted to try it again in 2022. Starting in February at St. Petersburg High School. So today's invocation will be given by Pastor Keith Harcum from the Palm Harbor United Methodist Church. The invocation will be followed by the Pledge of Allegiance, led by Vice Chairman Lisa Kane, and the national anthem sung by the Palm Harbor High School After School Specials, a cappella group, under the direction of Blake Hudson. So please, everyone stand. And Reverend Pastor Keith Harcum, welcome.
Thank you. It's my honor to be here today. My name's Keith Harcum. As Eileen said, I am the pastor of Palm Harbor, and I'm also the proud father of 2 children who graduated out of the Pinellas County school system. One graduated in 2014 from this very school, went to Florida State University, go Noles, did the Florida State Law School, and will graduate next month from New York University with an LLM in law. So as you know, I'm a proud father and thankful for the investment that Pinellas County Schools has invested in my children. And I'm excited to be here and to pray for you all. Let's pray together. God, thank you for the values that Pinellas County Schools has invested in children over the years. We thank you that they have a continuous focus on their future. We're thankful, Lord, that they have a value system that wants to educate children for college, career, and their future. We pray, Lord, for all those involved here, administrators, all those that have made this night and the traveling team successful. We ask, Lord, that you would continue to guide us on how to shape children, how to focus on the future, and how to make them rounded individuals that will be glad to go into our community. We ask this in the precious name of our God. Amen.
Amen.
Thank you.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight, o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rockets' red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our
Mr. Hudson, will you please introduce the second song?
Hello, we are the After School Specials, and we recently just got back from New York for a competition that we made it to finals for. Today we will be performing our second song from our competition set called Till Forever Falls Apart, performed by Gavin Ravers and Gracie Campbell.
Dreaming in a world that we both know it's out of our control. But if it hits the fan, we're not alone. You got me and you know that I've got you and I know. If the tide takes California, I'm so glad I got to hold ya. And if the sky falls from heaven above, oh, I know I've had the best time falling into love.
So this is it, that's how it ends. I guess there's nothing more romantic than dying with your friends. I'm not sorry for myself. I wouldn't wanna spend a minute loving anybody else. You got me and you know I've got you and I know. If the tide takes California, I'm so glad I've got to hold ya. And if the sky falls from heaven above, oh, I know I've had the best time falling into love. We've been living on a fault line, and for a while we're all mine. I've spent a lifetime giving you my heart. Swear that I'll be yours forever till forever falls apart. All falls apart. Till forever falls apart. We never had it from the start. Till death do us part. If the tide takes California, I'm so glad I've got to know ya. And if the sky falls from heaven above, oh, I know I had the best time falling into love. And for a while you were all mine. I spent a lifetime giving you my heart. Swear that I'll be yours forever till forever falls apart. Till forever falls apart.
That was fantastic. Thank you. And to all the members of the group, that 7 of us are just wanting to say how proud we are of you, and thank you for representing Pinellas County in such a graceful way. Thank you. Okay, now I'd like to introduce tonight's video. A few weeks ago, students here at Palm Harbor University organized and hosted a TEDx youth event. The theme was unity, and the event showcased 8 speakers sharing their thoughts on what it means to be a united society. Let's take a look.
This is the 3rd TEDx Youth Palm Harbor University High School event. Students have done everything from advertising to searching for and selecting speakers and logistics for the whole event.
I'm just someone who really enjoys kind of like the learning and teaching process, and TED is kind of like the ultimate culmination of that. It's kind of the pinnacle of where people go to teach their community about their own experiences that they don't get to hear.
The theme this year is United, which was a student-selected theme.
So the way we came up with the topic is we had a lunch meeting and we just started throwing ideas around, and someone said TEDx United, and considering how we were all students from different backgrounds with different interests coming together to work, this is one of our largest teams that we've had to work on TEDx before, it was really important that we choose a theme that elevates it.
Today we hope to inspire conversation and introduce new ideas about how unity can be our greatest tool.
With the theme of unity, we really wanted that to carry throughout the event itself and not just in what we're discussing on stage. So we really wanted to bring in the musicians from different local high schools that are coming together to play before the show and during intermission, and some art featured on stage in our entrance hallway. And so we're almost unified in the event itself.
Everyone in this audience has the ability to be a leader and is a leader.
I think this is so important for me to be a part of because public discussions are essential to a functioning society. Having a community come together to celebrate different opinions and ideas is really important, and it's important for the youth to get involved so that they can see the value of everyone's individual voice.
One of the best parts about TEDx is the curation process. You have to look into your community, your state, and find people who are really passionate about something that they've been kind of holding back in their life that they want to share.
Last summer, I was diagnosed with PTSD at a local crisis center, something that continues to affect me to this day.
We've seen every year at least one or two speakers are sharing a story that is so personal that I've found out that they've never actually told the story before.
A unity that produces excellence does not crumble under the weight of diversity. It thrives off of what each and every person brings to the table.
When they invited me to come speak on unity, I was like, this is definitely something that I should be doing. And for me, it was only recently that I started kind of uniting different pieces of my identity and who I am with my culture, and just kind of navigating that, like how I was born in Egypt and growing up in America. And I also go to 2 different churches and so many different things that I felt like I have united within myself this year.
Let's get started.
The most important lesson for me is that they understand that they're more than capable of putting on events and doing very challenging and complicated things completely on their own.
The biggest thing I learned logistically putting on the event is that it takes a team, it takes collaboration and communication, and that it all comes together in such a wonderful event.
Powerful video. Now I'd like to have Public Information Officer Isabella Mascarenas introduce our professional and community organizations.
Good evening, Madam Chair, members of the board, Dr. Grego, and staff. It is my pleasure to introduce the following representatives of community and professional organizations. From the Pinellas Classroom Teachers Association, PCTA, we have Nancy Velarde, President. Members of the media in attendance this evening are Bay News 9 and 10 Tampa Bay. Today we have a presentation from the Student Rights and Responsibility Committee. Please welcome Jacob Sands, Elena Ortega Guisado, and Constantine Chaconis from Palmer Harbor University High School and their principal, Teresa Patterson.
Good evening, everyone. I'm Jacob Sands, and I'm a senior at Palm Harbor University High School. Last year, our school was the only school in Pinellas County with a zoned population to earn a school grade of an A. In addition, our 2021 graduation rate was 99.48%, one of the highest rates out of the 37 high schools in Pinellas County. The points of pride from this school year are proof that we are continuing our tradition of excellence here at PHUHS. 11 students were named National Merit Finalists in the class of 2022. Not only is this a school record, these 11 PHU students make up half of the student finalists in all of Pinellas County. We saw our student government representatives and executive committee members take on a new mission to unify our students by programming whole school events under Kate Tankrell's sponsorship. Some of the events orchestrated by PHU student government include a drive-in movie, Twin Tuesday, Touchdown Friday, community trunk or treat event, and more.
Hello, everybody. I am Elena Ortega-Casado, and I'm a senior in the Center for Wellness and Medical Professions here at PHU. In addition to our national merit finalists, we had 2 students who scored a perfect SAT score, 6 national committed scholars, 5 students who received the College Board National Hispanic Award, and 1 student who received the College Board National African American Award. Our superlative clubs and societies brought home multiple recognitions, including 4 awards received by our robotics team, who traveled to the first Tech Challenge State Championship. 28 of our students were recognized at the Scholastic Arts Awards ceremony, 7 of which earned silver and gold key awards. 6 students attended the Future Business Leaders of America High School competition and will be going on to represent Florida in the national competition this summer. One of our seniors raised over $31,000 in her chip-in for sudden cardiac arrest for a CAS project to raise money for the American Heart Association and the Sudden Cardiac Arrest Foundation. She has partnered with Baycare to create a video to promote CPR education for local school districts here in Florida. Our a cappella group was one of 8 teams to attend the International Championship of High School a cappella in New York this past weekend, and performed very well. In addition, our fall play and spring musical have been critically acclaimed, and many of our visual arts students have had pieces selected for popular exhibits such as the Scholastic Art and Dali Museum. While academics and the arts are incredibly important here at PHU, we also value athletics, and as a result, we have exceptional accomplishments from our sports teams.
Hello and good evening. My name is Constantine Chaconis, and I'm a senior in our Center for Wellness and Medical Professions program. So Palm Harbor University has proudly continued our success in athletics this school year. The girls golf team, both boys and girls swimming teams, the girls soccer program, and the boys wrestling team were Pcsc and district champions. Senior boy wrestler Chris Griel represented PHU as the state runner-up in his weight class. So far, during the spring sports season, the flag football, girls tennis, and girls lacrosse teams were all Pcsc runner-ups. The following coaches have been voted as Pcsc Coaches of the Year: Lisa Bidding for swimming and diving, Randy Eric for girls soccer, and Nikki Regier for girls basketball. Now let's look back at our academic accomplishments. Our medical program has numerous specialized medical classes, including 3 tracks: traditional, biomedical, and newly made pharmacy. We also have prominent levels of participation in HOSA, or Health Occupation Students of America, with over 300 student members, including competitors at the regional, state, and national levels. Freshman pinning, sophomore breakfast, junior scrubs and coats, senior celebration, and senior days are all wonderful and unique aspects of this program. On-hand clinical experiences in hospitals, rehab centers, private practices, dental, and veterinary offices are provided to our students. Combined, the class of 2022 has completed more than 10,000 community service hours. We have established an outstanding medical magnet booster organization where parents and students have been able to host unique events and celebrations. Last year, students sat for 5 industry certifications, earning over 200 total. We have a 95% pass rate or higher in certification testing in EMR, EKG, and CNA. The medical program is nothing to take lightly, and as PHU students, we are proud of all that's been achieved under this program. Thank you.
During my 4 years at Palm Harbor, I have seen many outstanding achievements across the traditional and magnet programs. Although I will be graduating in a few weeks and will no longer see firsthand the many upcoming accomplishments made by the future incoming students, I am positive that the new students will raise these expectations even higher and achieve even more than what we have in just 1 year. And with that being said, I would like to thank you all for the time and attention you have given us. Thank you.
I just want to say that Palm Harbor University holds a very special place in my heart. My daughter graduated here 3 years ago and is doing phenomenal, and that is because this is such a fantastic school. You get parents involved. It's just a wonderful place to be, and I know your futures are so full of all kinds of possibilities, so thank you. All right, Dr. Grego, are there any changes to the agenda?
No changes, but I would like to move 7.12 to non-consent, just to give Mr. Hervick an opportunity to explain to the public and to the board again some of the conversation that took place in the workshop concerning transportation and bell times. So, yeah.
Okay. Thank you, Dr. Grego. I find good cause to amend the agenda as described. May I get a motion? Okay. Okay, Ms. Hine.
Second.
And Mr. Dudley. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All right, 7-0.
Madam Chair?
Yes, sir.
If I may clarify, with the consent of the mover and the seconder, that would be a motion to adopt the amended agenda
What did I say?
as opposed to moving the item.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you. All right. So special order agenda. We ready? We have a proclamation, a presentation of proclamation regarding school lunch. So, Ms. Geist, Dr. Grego, would you like to introduce this?
Yes, let me introduce Lynn Geis, our Director of Food Services, and just as she's coming to the microphone, say thank you publicly and for all the service that you've provided us, and also as we can't thank our food service workers enough, especially over the last few years, so thank you, Lynn.
Yes.
And today we celebrate lunches and the lunch program, so take it away.
Thank you. Madam Chair, board members, Dr. Grego, and staff, it's my pleasure to be here tonight to introduce the first annual School Lunch Hero Week, May 2nd through the 6th. As the school year comes to an end, this is an opportunity to recognize and celebrate the achievements of the food and nutrition staff. For example, by the end of this school year, we would have served over 9.5 million lunches, 4.6 million breakfasts. We are very busy people.
Yeah.
Since the beginning of the pandemic, our School Lunch Heroes have provided healthy meals to our students and the community. They are dedicated to provide that basic necessity, healthy food. Every day, because we know you cannot teach a hungry child. So providing those meals is so important to all of us. They are heroes every day, not only with the meals that they serve, but also the emotional support and the consistency they provide in our students' lives. Cafeteria staff are often the people who see every child every day. And I can tell you many of our cashiers can name every single child in the school. They are talented, creative, and dedicated to 100% student success. So it is my pleasure again to introduce School Lunch Hero Week, and it's my honor to bring to you a proclamation recognizing our school lunch heroes. Thank you.
Ms. Geis, I got so excited to see you. I haven't seen you in a while that I forgot to get a motion and a second. So, motion. Okay, and second. Ms. Kane. All in favor? No. Okay. All right, Ms. Kane, will you go ahead and do the proclamation? This is
Absolutely, and we can't thank you and all of the staff enough for all that they do each and every day. I know this is a tough job, and they do an amazing work every day. So it is with pleasure to announce the proclamation of School Lunch Hero Day 2022, whereas high quality, nutritious, and safe meals at school are an essential part of the school day, and whereas the staff of Pinellas County Schools Food and Nutrition Department are dedicated to providing healthy and nutritious meals to the district's children, and whereas the men and women who prepare and serve school meals help nurture our children through their daily interaction and support. Now, therefore, the School Board of Pinellas County does hereby proclaim Friday, May 6th, 2022 as School Lunch Hero Day and express our deepest appreciation to these valuable team members and commend their great work on behalf of our students.
Thank you so much.
Any comments? I'd like to say that I know this has been a tough year when we had to move, we're now in charge of our own food and shipping it out to the schools. That had to be a really big adjustment, and you've just done a wonderful job in your staff.
Thank you, and we're working every day to improve it and
I know.
continue to grow. So.
And you will.
Thank you.
All in favor? Okay. All right. Now we're going to do a very special presentation of the proclamation acknowledging the contribution of our teachers during Teacher Appreciation Week. I need a motion.
A motion.
Ms. Kane, and I need a second. Ms. Edmond. And Ms. Hexel.
Madam Chair, school board members, Dr. Grego, and staff, I am truly honored to be here this evening to recognize our wonderful teachers that we have in Pinellas County Schools. Next week is Teacher Appreciation Week, going to be celebrated throughout the district, I know, with our special Teacher Appreciation Day on May 3rd. And we are reminded each and every day how much above and beyond our teachers do each and every day in their classrooms to support their students, but not only their students, their families, their parents, and of course our community. Our teachers work very closely with our students to help each and every one of them with their individual goals, but we're often reminded that everyone's individual goals working together makes our district one of the very best districts in not only Florida, but the nation. So very proud of our teachers. Our students are excelling because of the efforts of our teachers, and we just are very excited to recognize them all next week. I have heard of special events already planned for next week to recognize our teachers, hearing those commercials, and we appreciate the businesses in our community that support our teachers next week. I know some have free giveaways and things, and those are wonderful ways to say thank you to our teachers. So at this time, I know we have a proclamation, and again, on behalf of all of us, we just want to recognize our teachers and say thank you very much for the work that they do.
Ms. Edmond?
Teacher Appreciation Week. Whereas teachers open children's minds to the magic of ideas, knowledge, and dreams. And whereas teachers keep American democracy alive by laying the foundation for good citizenship. And whereas teachers fill many roles as listeners, explorers, role models, motivators, and mentors. And whereas great teachers make great public schools. And whereas teachers continue to influence us long after our school days are only memories. Now, therefore, the School Board of Pinellas County does hereby proclaim the week of May 2nd through 6, 2022 as Teacher Appreciation Week, and Tuesday, May 3rd, 2022 as Pinellas County Schools Teacher Appreciation Day. We urge that all observe this week by taking the time to recognize and acknowledge the impact teachers have had on our lives. Signed this 26th day of April 2022.
Thank you. Any comments from the board? Okay, I'd like to take a vote. Presentation of the proclamation of acknowledging the contribution of our teachers during Teacher Appreciation Week. All in favor say aye. Aye. Okay, 7-0. Recognition of the 2022 Family and Community Engagement Award winners. Dr. Grego, I'm going to turn this over to you first.
Yes, Madam Chair, I'd like to call on Dr. Valerie Brim, who will recognize not only a couple of our outstanding schools and participation, but also the program of community participation. So, Dr. Brim.
Yes, Madam Chair, board members, Dr. Greco, and staff. As Pinellas County Schools continue to put forth effort of 100% student success, we wholeheartedly embrace our core value that we are committed to children, families, and the community. We are excited tonight to announce 2 of our district schools that was nominated for the Commissioner's Award in Pinellas County Schools Family and Community Involvement Award. This award promotes and recognizes schools that have implemented innovative school programs to increase family engagement, community involvement. The categories was elementary and secondary. So as I announce the 2 schools, I would like them to come up one at a time. The first elementary, or the only elementary, is the Starkey Elementary School. So as she comes up, can I elaborate? The Starkey Bears Family Engagement Night project is designed to streamline the school's engagement efforts to be more result-oriented. So parents are provided necessary tools to support their child learning at home, building stronger relationship between staff, school, and family, and increasing student academic performance while building a positive school culture. That night, they shared literacy, how parents can increase literacy at home. They talked about data chats, how their students were performing, and also parent collaboration with teacher-parent conferences. So congratulations to Starkey Elementary. Our second school is our secondary school is Pinellas Gulf Coast Academy High School. It is a credit recovery school for students in 9th through 12th grade. It is historically challenging for families to be involved, but this year, with the partnership of Strategic Partnership and our bilingual coordinator, they performed and put together a family night resource. This event assisted in connecting families to community organizations that could support in healthcare, social services, college and career opportunities, and other related areas. This event allowed families to get some everyday needs, some of the resources that will support their child, and multiple families attended. Of course, we had dinner and prizes to support our families, but this is the beginning of a new idea at Pinellas Coast. And so we want to say congratulations to our principal, Mrs. Bonnie Zielinski. Thank you very much.
Okay. All right, we're moving on. I'm just going to, I didn't have my paper with me, so we'll just briefly. Speakers have 3 opportunities. The first one is if there are public hearings. The second one is to the consent agenda items. And the third time they have an opportunity to speak is after we close this meeting, before we do our board evaluation, people can speak up to the business of the school or the school system, okay? All right, with that, we don't have Ms. Hauk. There is no public hearing, so, and no unfinished business, so are there people speaking to the agenda items?
Yes, Madam Chair. We have one speaker speaking to agenda item 7.5, Ms. Renee Chia.
7.5. Solutions.
Good evening. I wanted to address agenda item 7.5, the sole source contract for IT infrastructure and data governance upgrades. As you all should recall, I spoke to both the spending of these contract dollars in this specific company in December of 2021, at which time I specifically asked the board what the public participation opportunities were for vendor selection, and I raised concerns about this specific vendor. This vendor on their own website proudly discusses their ethics structure, which includes their 4 pillars of efficient government, human life, quality living, and social justice. If you read their definitions of these pillars, it is evident they could not be more woke. They also proudly discuss how they refuse to contract with anyone who does not share their political ideology and global world vision. So why they are accepting a contract with you all in Pinellas County, Florida is curious at best, isn't it? As you know, Mr. Kapersky, I asked you for information that was posted about the sole source contract, and you provided me the information, which informed me that the procurement process for a sole source on the county is to post information on their procurement page for 7 days. Hope nobody notices, as we didn't, and then can legally award this contract to the vendor of their choice without competition. The sole source rationale states, the products and/or services listed below are believed to be of a unique or proprietary nature and therefore only available from one source. Well, I asked my sister, who is an expert in this field, to review the scope of work for the contract for me and provide a professional opinion. Just so you understand what I mean about expert, my sister tested out of high school at age 16, attended DeVry Technical College in the 80s, graduated magna cum laude at 21. Over the course of her 20-plus years experience in IT networks, data governance, and international connectivity of video conferencing, as well as her certifications and experience in IT project management, she is well positioned to advise on the project and the unique and/or proprietary nature of this work. Her expert opinion was there was nothing objectionable in the scope of the project, but the scope of the project is not unique or proprietary. The only thing that would be is the solution they provided to the issue. But what other companies did the board or district consult as to the solution to this hardware and software solution? My sister and I are confident there are vendors with the expertise necessary in Pinellas County to manage this project. You not only did not look, you intentionally hid and obscured your actions, even though we asked to be informed and participate in the process in order to very weakly justify the necessity of the sole source contract for $2.6 million. Additionally, according to the contract, you are delegating your authority for any other vendors or individuals needed.
Okay, do I have a motion for the consent agenda items? Mr. Dudley? And Ms. Cook. All in favor of the approval of the consent agenda, say aye. Passes. Okay. The non-consent, 8.1, request approval of the Memorandum of Understanding with Innovation Foundation Corporation. I need a motion. I need a second. Fine. Okay, Dr. Grego.
Yes, Madam Chair and school board members, this is an item I felt like should be highlighted again, and this is the work that we're doing with ARC Invest, with the Innovation Foundation. Mr. Henrik has been spearheading this curriculum development portion for middle school, 6th, 7th, and 8th grade. I thought it would be very appropriate for him to just provide some highlights. In your packet of materials that you had, and we also reviewed in the last workshop, is a memorandum of understanding that lays out the responsibilities of the board as well as the foundation.
Thank you, Dr. Grego. Good evening, Madam Chair, board members, staff, and the community. It's my pleasure to share with you tonight this memorandum of understanding and ask for your approval with the Innovation Foundation powered by ARC Invest. As we shared at the April 19th workshop, we have been in conversations with the Innovation Foundation for nearly a year to bring an innovative supplemental curriculum in a pilot to schools next year. The schools selected are Carwise, Palm Harbor, Pinellas Park, Seminole, Bay Point, Lehlman, and Sanderlin Middle Schools. It will bring a supplemental curriculum aligned to the state standards that focuses on problem-first modules, brings experiments, student agency, the scientific method, and discovery to the classroom. Students will learn through these modules with authentic assessments, not typical standardized assessments, and through experiments and rubrics. We've involved teachers in the planning of this from the start of the project from all 7 schools, and teachers have been a key driver of this change. The Innovation Foundation focuses on disruptive technology for their investment strategy, looking at radical change in STEM careers and existing industries. Some of the things that students will study next year include using drones to understand storms, redesigning reusable rockets, building long-lasting batteries, and redesigning the school lunch experiment. The MOU outlines the scope of work for both the school district and the Innovation Foundation. There is no cost for the district, but the Innovation Foundation is bringing their expertise as well as resources, and lab kits for all of the experiments that our students and teachers will participate in. Also focusing on intentional family experiences and connecting the curriculum to our families from the start. There's also a research proposal from USF to gauge the effectiveness of this pilot curriculum. Tonight we ask for your approval and look forward to the work with our students and teachers over the next year.
Thank you. Dr. Grego, would you
No,
anything
I
else?
just said
Okay.
thank you.
Ms. Hine?
mention one of the things that I really enjoyed hearing from them at the workshop last week was about the way they worked with our science teachers, the way they brought in middle school science teachers and essentially said, what is it you would love to teach? What are the resources you would love to have? And just brought in them and used them as the experts. So they're bringing ideas and innovation and resources, which is amazing, but also working with our science teachers to elevate that curriculum. And I really enjoyed hearing about that. I'm excited about this partnership.
I am too.
Anyone else? Ms. Edmond?
And when we talk about partnerships, I see this as another way of getting the business community, as well as you mentioned, family engagement, which is a significant part of the school life of each student. So having more family engagement in something that both the students and the parents can get involved with is very exciting. And as a former science coach, I really appreciate, to Mrs. Hines' point, the collaboration with both PCS teachers as well as their own experts. So thank you.
Ms. Kane?
Thank you so much, Mr. Hendrick. I am absolutely excited about this project. This is a way to innovate, to change the way we do education and excite students about what they're doing. And to me, there's nothing better than that. Education should be fun, should be exciting, and it should be something that they look forward to doing every single day, not just the students, but the teachers too. So for them to be able to do what they love in their classroom and teach students and in a different way that is exciting is fantastic, and I'm very happy about this partnership. Thank you.
Thank you.
Go ahead, Dr. Carr.
Thank you. And I want to emphasize how grateful I am that you've also incorporated the evaluation of the program with an external evaluator. So oftentimes when we partner with different programs or even internally, it can really benefit us to have that external evaluation for reflection, not only on implementation, but also on impact. So thank you very much for including evaluation in this partnership.
Thank you.
And I believe, as a former middle school science teacher, when I looked at the topics and I saw how the kids would get engaged, they're going to be on fire because you hit every single thing that is important to a sixth grader and their family. So thank you.
Thank you.
Okay. Anyone else? Okay. All in favor, say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Okay, passes. Okay. Now, 8.2 is 7.2, the request approval of school opening and closing times for 22-23, and authorize the superintendent to make additional changes as required by the statute or factors affecting the length of the instructional day. Dr. Grego?
Yes, Madam Chair. Let me explain a little bit of the last part of that, because that was put into effect because there are statutes that after the FSA assessment comes out, the school districts are then dictated to the amount of minutes in an hour instead of continuing to go back and forth to school boards for start times, end times, and things. You provided that. And I think over a number of years, people might question why is that in there. But overall, in the entire topic, I'm going to ask Mr. Herbig to make some comments. This is a lot of heavy work and lifting in terms of a very challenging year of transportation throughout this country. But I want to say thank you first and foremost to our transportation department, who delivers and works to deliver students on time as best they can with shortages of labor shortages, and also return them home safely. But this particular item, I want you to truly emphasize, this is a collaboration between teaching and learning, the division of what's best for instruction, and also the transportation department. And we go back and forth, and there's sometimes many compromises to try to create greater efficiencies. We covered this in the workshop in terms of the software packages that we're buying and purchasing, and trying to create greater efficiencies, reduce that gap between the employment needs and also the effectiveness of bringing and delivering students. So let me ask Mr. Herbig to just go through some of that process and some of that thinking. A lot of this is a repetition, all of this is really repetition for you as board members, but I think it's also important for the public to hear too.
Yes, thank you, Dr. Grego. Madam Chair, board members, and staff. As Dr. Grego said, we did share this with you at the workshop, but for the sake of the public and staff who may not have been there, we've been working with a group known as originally Dynamic Ideas Routing. They're now known as Alpha Route for a little over a year. And Alpha Route has a foundation, kind of a background with MIT, Massachusetts Institute of Technology. In fact, their founder is an assistant dean for business operations at MIT. They specialize in routing and logistics. When we found out that a group like that was involved and could help us with our own bus routes and with the logistics of that, we reached out to them. And like I said, we've been working with them for a little over a year. Some of that work had to be suspended because Alpha Route has expanded into the world of bus routing software. And they were bidding on the software package that you approved at the last board meeting, and they were unable to continue work with us during that time that offering was out there. But during our work with them, what we've kept hearing from them over and over and over again was efficiency. That you have to make your routes efficient. In order to make any other changes that you eventually may want to make, you need to make your routes efficient. And in the world of student transportation, and in Pinellas County, where we have 3 tiers of bus routes, or bus runs, I should say, efficiency for us means that every bus should serve 3 schools in the morning and serve 3 schools in the afternoon. It should have the maximum number of students on that bus that we can load on there and route safely. And it should deliver a product that delivers students to school on time and also gets them home at the expected time. And so as we started working with our routing kind of our solution this year, we really focused on that term and that idea of efficiency. And we worked on those 3 fundamentals of being on time, maximum students with safe passage to their bus stop and home, and also those 3 routes in the morning and afternoon. We reached out and we worked with our executive leadership team. We worked with the area superintendents, who in turn worked with principals and had discussions with them. But one thing that also came out is that as we were building these routes, one of the things, and I do have to kind of apologize, I got to go back for a second here. We build the routes and we bring them to you at this time of the year because we wait until the student data rollover happens on March 1st. When our transportation department and when all of those student choices that students and their families make during the choice period, when they make those choices and that data gets put into the system, it rolls over and becomes available to us on March 1st. And Mr. Haig was with us here today. He can verify that on March 1st, our routers start working on routing. We do that because we need to know where the students live and which schools we need to take them to. If we did the routing any earlier than that, we wouldn't have buses in the right place. We would have buses that weren't full, or maybe some of them that had too many students assigned to them. And so that getting that data, that real life data, and knowing where those students are for the next upcoming school year and where they need to go is extremely important. And that's one of the reasons, and I know that you may have heard, from some of our parents, why didn't you tell us earlier when we were making that choice? Well, we need to know what that choice is before we can take a bus there and know where to send it. So to circle back, again, we worked with the executive leadership team, we worked with the area superintendents, and they spoke with some principals as well. We also, and I spoke with Mrs. Matway today too, the changes that we're bringing you today are mostly at the elementary school level, and our before and after care providers will make those adjustments that are necessary to allow that the parents who have those earlier drop-off times or a different pickup time in the afternoon next year than what they have now, that those before and after care providers will be able to accommodate them with them adjusting their times as well. And so I know that is a relief to some of our parents in that regard. So the presentation of the bell times, the changes that we would like to bring to you tonight, and we are bringing you tonight, we ask that you consider, involve, again, going back to the efficiency piece. We're proposing to move the TZ schools 15 minutes later, and those schools would be Campbell Park, Fairmont Park, Gulfport Montessori, Lakewood Elementary, Maximo Elementary, Melrose Elementary, and Sandy Lane Elementary Schools. Those times this year were 8:15 to 3:15, and we're proposing moving those from 8:30 to 3:15 next year. That change alone, that 15 minutes, can save 17 bus routes. We also propose to move Clearwater Intermediate from a 9:45 to a 9:15 start. That change does not affect our routes. Those buses serving Clearwater Intermediate will still be able to serve 3 schools in the morning, 3 schools in the afternoon. The school made that request. We're able to do that without impacting any other schools. We also propose to move Sanderlin and Perkins Elementaries to 30 minutes later start time. Currently, 7 of the 12 buses that serve those schools do not serve all 3 tiers. And if we move those schools 30 minutes later, it'll allow all 12 of the buses serving those schools to again serve all 3 tiers of students. And again, what that does is it helps 7 other schools, and the students who are on those schools get to school on time and back home on time. And then the last changes that we are proposing tonight is to move Azalea Elementary and Sawgrass Lake Elementary School to an 8:45 start to allow, again, the 9 buses that service them in the morning to do all 3 tiers and all 3 tiers in the afternoon, and that saves 4 routes. The overall solution then is by implementing all 4 of those changes, it reduces the number of runs in the first tier by 32. And what that means in real life terms is that's 32 more drivers who are able to help next year if a driver calls in sick, or if a driver is unable for some reason to get to a school, or if the bus breaks down, or any of those causes. It's 32 extra drivers who are available to help out there at the last minute. In the second tier, it increases the number of runs by 24, but that's our smallest tier, where we will be able to absorb those 24 extra runs with no problem. And in the afternoon, it decreases the number of runs by 6, which again provides 6 more buses to help, as things stack up in the day, traffic stacks up and accidents happen and buses can't get to certain parts. It's 6 more drivers who are able to kind of be available to help us out in a pinch if needed. So we ask that you approve these proposed bell times. They support a more efficient routing system. They support the efforts of the Transportation Department also to get students to school and back home on time.
Thank you, Mr. Herbeck, and to the board. If you have any additional questions that we might have had, and this has truly been a collaboration between many, many divisions.
Ms. Hine?
Thank you, Mr. Herbeck. I appreciate that. A couple of the numbers that I wrote down in last week's workshop when we went over this and asked a lot of questions were that we currently have 339 drivers. But we currently have 373 routes. And making these changes, so that means we have more routes than we have drivers. So understand that every day we start school in this county without enough drivers. And we start school with people not knowing when their children are going to be picked up or when they're going to get home. Now we do it. All of them get picked up and all of them get home. We haven't missed a single route, but they've been late and they haven't known what time. So they live in that unknown every single day. And by making this change, we go from 373 to 325 routes with 339 drivers. So we actually have the right number of routes for the right number of drivers. That doesn't account for, as you said, calling out sick, having PTO, a number of other things, but we at least get into that spot where not hundreds of people every day are wondering what time they're going to get picked up or what time they're going to get home. Making this change for these schools, which I recognize has an impact, and people have to shift their routines around, and that's an impact. But those are the driving numbers. Forgive the pun there about driving, but are those correct? Is that correct?
Correct. There's just a slight little correction to 325 routes that we see in the first tier. There may be a few more. There may be some of those second tier schools that still need to start earlier. And I know Mr. Haywood would be quick to correct me if I said it was only 325, but it will be much less than 373. We know that.
Could you also give us an update on the notification system that's coming out next year? It's
part of our new software package, and again, in this world of technology and all the things that we can do on computers and laptops and even iPads, it's hard to imagine that we have a software package we're still working with right now that our routers have to do things by hand. They literally have to look at where students live, make sure what type of street they cross, make sure it's a safe walk to the bus stop, and then figure out the impacts by hand. The new software system that we are starting to work with right now will do that all for us. And so the actual practice of routing will be much, much quicker. The other thing that it does is extraordinarily powerful is this software will integrate seamlessly with our GPS system, and it will integrate with an automatic system that will call parents. So when that GPS system notices that a bus is, and we can pick whatever time we want. We can pick 10 minutes, 15, 20 minutes, whatever time we want. When that GPS system notices that that bus is late and consistently late, it will place an automatic text, email, phone call, whatever the parent chooses, to that parent and say, your bus is going to be a little bit late. We have a system like that now, but again, we have to do it by hand, and we just can't keep up with the demand that happens every single day. So the automation of that is going to be, I think, very powerful.
Thank you.
It's the first thing we're being asked to train our staff on.
Thank you.
Dr. Carr?
Thank you, Mr. Herbeck, and I appreciate your presentation at our workshop. I know that, or I have high hopes that now that AI can write essays for our students, it should help us get out of this troubling situation of start time. So hopefully the incorporation of that in this software will really put us where we need to be. My only other point to make sure that the general public is aware of that happened during our conversations at workshop was one of the considerations we've been working hard to implement is a later school start time for our high school students. And while we've worked very hard to reduce the number of schools that have such an early start, in fact, one of the methods that we're going to incorporate into this plan is, in fact, that we may be picking up students and then they're just arriving a little earlier than the school start time. So I don't want folks to think that we've made substantial progress in moving the school start times later. I want to make sure that we still focus on that as an important value that we are working towards, even if we have not made progress at all of our schools, all of our high schools, to move in that direction.
Correct. Yeah. Right.
Okay.
Thanks.
Thank you. Anyone else? Okay. Ms. Edmond?
Thank you, Mr. Herbeck and staff, for presenting at the workshop as well as coming here today to provide information for the public. Some of the things that you just discussed were questions that I was going to ask relating to this coming to us after the application period. What are families to do about before and after care? And I appreciate that. My question is, what are we doing to recruit bus drivers, since our start time and end time is based on the amount of bus drivers and routes we're able to cover?
We've done quite a lot this year. For one, we were able to give them a bonus in their pay. Every driver is now getting what we call an opportunity route pay, because they are doing a lot of overtime. They are covering for a lot of their fellow drivers if they call out sick. So that has helped. And one other thing that we're doing is, with the current drivers that we have now, we're giving a substantial bonus. We're giving a $1,200 bonus every 45 days for if they have perfect attendance. And what that has done is really decrease the need that we have every day, that gap for people calling out. But we have hired a person whose full-time job it is to go out and go to job fairs, go out to wherever they need to go to hire bus drivers. We've shortened the training window so that people, when we hire them, and it is paid training, if you come to us without a CDL, we will pay for you to earn that CDL with us. But we have shortened that window to get people out on the road even quicker. And one of the other things that we've done is we've been working with Ms. Texel and HR and the rest of executive leadership to kind of think of other ways that we can attract more drivers to prepare for next fall.
Thank you, Mr. Herbeck. I think it's important that the community hears all of the strategies that we have in place, as well as that there's a significant effort to recruit more bus drivers. If you are interested in becoming a bus driver through Pinellas County Schools, you can visit the website, pcsb.org. We always have to do that plug. I think it's important that, again, that people know that we're doing the best we can, and we would appreciate anyone that's interested in applying.
And I'd have to echo that, yes, please go in and apply. And you don't have to work both morning and afternoon. If your morning time fits you, we hire part-time drivers who do just the morning or just the afternoon. And that has helped as well. We've gotten drivers, increased our numbers from splitting up the day.
Thank you very much, Mr. Herbig.
Okay, I need to get a motion.
Start times and authorize the superintendent to make whatever necessary changes.
Second? Dudley? Okay. All right, any other comments on this? All right, let's take a vote. All in favor, say aye. Aye. Passes. Thank you, Mr. Herbig.
Thank you, Mr. Herbig.
All right, items introduced by the superintendent. Dr. Grego?
Yeah, thank you, Madam Chair. And I don't know if she's still here, but I want to certainly add my thanks to Principal Patterson for hosting us this evening, and thank her and the staff and the students who are still here. I'm impressed that they're still here and listening to our board meeting, and the singers and everyone here at Palm Harbor University High School. Also want the board to know that our school district was named for the third year in a row the best community for music education, and this is done by the National Association of Music Merchants, and I'll provide you that information, but it's an honor. Only 6 other school districts in the state of Florida have been earned this recognition, so congratulations to this board. Recently I was able to join Ellen Truskowski and other of our school district representatives to the Magnet Schools of America, where we too were also honored for a number of merit schools finalists that we had. But we also, as you saw in your communications, we were recognized for the James B. Sanderlin K-8 IB World School. This was we received the highest honor as one of the most effective magnet programs and magnet schools in the United States. So it was a great celebration for Sanderlin and also us too. And also in that conference, I know we had Sean Clark and Brittany Meyer, who provided a virtual presentation. I also did serve on a superintendent's panel with superintendent of Clark County and also superintendent of Houston and 1 or 2 other superintendents. So it was a good conference. Pinellas County was well represented and well recognized too with Sanderlin. Also our students earned prestigious statewide art awards. 2 of our students won the top awards for the Florida Arts Education Association K-12 Student Art Assessment and Virtual Exhibit. These are 2 of our students. One is a 5th grader at Lake St. George, won the elementary, and the other was a Tarpon Spring Middle School students, won the middle school award. And these are statewide awards. I want to remind the board and also mainly the public, for still the Pinellas Education Foundation is still rolling out that Jumpstart Scholarship. It ends in April 30th, so we have a few more days. And this is an opportunity with the Florida Prepaid to pay $1,300 and to be able to award a student of need $3,100. So the way I remember is just take the 13 and flip it. And so $1,300 to give you $3,100, which would be 2 years. And it's a great, why they're calling it a Jumpstart program. Dr. Byer's done phenomenal work with this, and I believe we're up close to $500,000 in scholarships already raised by this community, this business community too. So I also want to remind you the finalists for the showcase of the famous Walker's Rising Stars will be held on May 12th at the Mahaffey Theater. It's going to be a special evening. Dr. Walker is providing a major contribution to the that will be announced that evening, but as you know, it'll be showcasing our culinary arts, our dance and instrumental theater, visual arts, and vocal performance. So we're looking forward to it. And that's May 12th at 7 p.m. at the Mahaffey Theater. So certainly hope to see you. As you know, we'll have a meeting prior to that, but our students, as you could tell even today, they're getting ready for graduation. And so it's coming, they can tell you the time, the date, the time, and probably the minute at which they'll be graduating. So as I will say, how proud I am, and I know you are, of each and every one of our graduates. And as you know the schedule, I thank the board members for your participation in graduation. That concludes my comments. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Grego. Items introduced by the school board attorney, Mr. Kapersky.
Thank you, Madam. I have no report this evening.
All right, thank you. Okay, items introduced by the board. I'll start this way. Dr. Carr, do you have anything?
I just would like to express gratitude to the Education Foundation. Had the opportunity to serve on several different scholarship reviews, and they facilitate so many of the scholarship applications for our students. For folks who aren't aware of it, many of our seniors do a universal application to the Education Foundation for scholarships and select individual scholarships which they might be eligible for and complete the specific criteria for those scholarships. So without the Ed Foundation, many different scholarships would be all throughout the community, and it becomes more difficult to navigate as a senior. So I'm just very grateful to them for their coordination in that. As a former school counselor, I know how difficult it can be for students to have to navigate that, and they really do help to work and provide for our students. So, and it has all become online. So now when you're on the other side of it, not a student applying for it, but a person reviewing it, it's even easier too. So thank you very much. And I would ask our public and community to continue to look into the Ed Foundation as a means for them to deliver their scholarship applications and for other opportunities to make contributions to our students and schools. So thank you.
Ms. Edmond, do you have anything?
This weekend, the St. Pete Arts Alliance, they held their fundraiser, and it was just absolutely wonderful to see students and community leaders and organizations pour into this fundraiser that ultimately supports our students. So I just would like to recognize their efforts and their partnership with Pinellas County Schools. Also, Arts Conservatory for Teens, they held their breakfast, and Dr. Harris and the scholars that participate in ACT, it's just amazing to hear the impact that organization is having on our scholars. Also, I had the opportunity to visit both Boca Ciega and Lakewood High School for their senior activities, and it's just amazing that just one of the highlights I would like to mention is Boca Ciega Avid Scholars have earned over $2 million in scholarships, and it's still rolling in. And then Coach Moore at Lakewood High School was able to get a professional football player to come in and provide some inspirational words. And coincidentally, he graduated from Lakewood. So when it comes back to giving back to the schools that you've graduated from, we see that throughout the county when our graduates come back to give back and support our students. So it's really great.
Thank you. Mrs. Cook, do you have anything? I do. And I'm just going to keep
I'd like to give a brief update on our Superintendent Search, although we are aware of it, and check your calendars to make sure you have the right dates still reserved. Last week we met and we narrowed our search down to 3 names. We have Kevin Hendrick from Pinellas County Schools, Michael Ramirez from Denver Public Schools, and Dr. Ann Hembrick from Marion County Public Schools. Each finalist has been given 7 questions that they will be answering. Some of them will be virtually, some of them will be written, and each one of us will be reviewing those individually in an effort to gain a little more insight as to what their thought process is, their philosophy, how they might handle some situations. Our next work session is scheduled for May 3rd at 10 a.m. and our in-person interviews will be May 11th and May 12th. The interviews with the board will be as a full group will be on May 11th, and then individual ones will be on the 12th, where we meet with them one-on-one. The interviews will be live streamed, the ones with the board. the board in its entirety. They'll be live streamed. And there'll be an opportunity for the public to meet the finalists on the evening of the 11th at 6:30 at our administration building. So there is more information about the meet and greet, and the full schedules will be available on our website at pcsb.org, Superintendent Search.
Thank you. Mr. Dudley, do you have anything?
Well, I would just like to say that at the as we're nearing the end of the school year, a lot of activities going on, particularly senior-oriented, but nonetheless, it affects all the students. You know, there's everything from proms. Some of them were held this last weekend. I think there's a couple yet to go. Moving up ceremonies and all those kinds of things. And I would just like to say that in spite of all the stuff we've gone through, the senior class going through as memories that they'll never forget.
That's right.
They went through COVID and all that stuff, and this is the first time they're actually getting some normalcy for the last 3 years. And I just encourage parents, try to be a little understanding and you know, give them a pat on the back. They've been through a lot. And I went to the prom, my 55th, by the way. Still haven't got it right yet, but my 55th prom on Saturday night at the yacht club, and it was great. Kids were well behaved and all that. But it's really a great time of year for those kids, and there'll be a lot of stuff happening. And I encourage, you know, everybody to just be a little more tolerant, because there'll be some weird things happening, I'm sure. But anyway, that's it.
Ms. Hine?
I think I just might mention how wonderful the Pride Awards were last night.
Yes.
Was that last night? That was incredible. I know a number of us were there, and it was my first experience with Pride Awards. So it awards 5th graders and 8th graders in certain subject areas, one from each subject area from each school, so hundreds of kids. So we got to stand up there and shake hands with and say congratulations to probably 500 students and maybe 100 principals or something like that. And the joy in the auditorium was just amazing. And kids of all different size, shapes, colors, dress, everything. They were beautiful, but all of them had these shining lights of their eyes, with the principal's eyes were shining, and I really loved it. It filled me with immense joy. And same with the co-MCs. They were valedictorians, one of different high schools, and boy, one of them here. And
Yes.
boy, you listen to those valedictorians speak and present and share their thoughts, and it just reminds you that there is a lot right in this world. And I would just like to say, for Teacher Appreciation Week, Teacher Appreciation Day, every day is Teacher Appreciation Day. Thriving teachers are thriving classrooms, and I know we all up here believe that, and I've heard everyone speak to that. So just as always, thank you to all of our teachers.
Ms. Kane?
Okay. Thank you very much, and it's such exciting news to hear about that we are Best Community for Music Education. Very proud of Pinellas County Schools for that accomplishment, and many, many others. I've heard so many over the last week. This school year's been, it feels like particularly a lot more just awards and achievements, and students are working very hard throughout the county on every different subject to reach their goals. And tonight, as we kind of close out the night, I like to leave on a positive note. I think something was in the air, because when I watched the video from the beginning of the school board meeting, and they were talking about TEDx Youth Talks, and they were talking about that their theme this year was unity. And I don't know if it was just in the air, but I was kind of on the same wavelength with the students and thinking about this time of year and the closeout of the year, and as we move to graduations and as we move forward, a lot of students are preparing speeches for moving on to college, speeches for their friends and their community to move on in the next stage of life. And I was thinking about bridges as kind of a literary notion in my mind, and how bridges are really the symbolism of ideas and feelings and connections. And I had a number of quotes that came to mind, but the first one was, "Education is a matter of building bridges. It's expedient that we give quality basic education to children if we care about bridging the gaps between where we are today and where we want to be in the future." Men often build too many walls and not enough bridges. Teachers can be seen as a bridge for students in their world of education. Discipline is the bridge between goals and accomplishment. And also to be careful not to burn bridges, you just might need to cross back. And also finally, an effort and hard work construct the bridge that connects your dreams to reality. So as we move to the end of the year and students are thinking of moving into that next stage of life, I feel like it's very important for them to think about the bridges they're going to build in their future to connect them to whatever path that they've chosen to take in the years to come. So that's kind of my positive message for the day.
Thank you, Ms. Kane. All right, Dr. Corbett, are there any board requests?
No, Madam Chair, we did not have any tonight.
Okay. At this time, I'm going to adjourn the meeting. We will then go up to public comments, and then afterwards we will come back for our board review.